If we simply make the shift back into stop abandoning ourselves and in our own frame, it changes everything. And in this episode, you're going to learn the 5 ways that we abandon ourselves and how we can stop doing that right now. We spend most of our lives intending to not be abandoned by other people, intending to not be rejected, to feel worthy, to feel and to get the validation from other people. And what we do is we end up abandoning ourselves in the process of gaining the attention and the validation of other people. And in so many ways in my own life, I have abandoned myself to make others happy because it was in a way a survival mechanism from childhood. Many of you watching this, you may have had trauma or certain experiences when you were a kid. And what you had to do is you had to tune your own energy to other people, to parental dynamics, your grandparents. And you had to tune a lot of times to their emotions and their rules. And what happened is you're then looking to them to then see if you're acting in a line, in accordance with how they expect you to, so that you can gain their validation. Maybe they withheld their validation. Maybe you weren't easily given it. And what happens is then, through life, you're in this pattern survival mechanism where other people's validation and other people's attention or other people's sense of approval gives you your sense of safety, your sense of worthiness. And what happens is your desires, your emotions, your intentions get put to the side so that you can please other people and make them happy. This can work in love dynamics. I'm going to share with you how I broke through those and how that completely changed my life. This can work in your job. Maybe you're not really going after what you're passionate about because you care what other people will think of you. You don't want to fail other people. And in health, there's every area of life this can be a part of. Even think about it with health. Think about there's somebody that maybe you're of a certain weight and you have friends that are also like that, and you're afraid that if you start becoming active that you're gonna ditch them. You're gonna lose them out of your life. This is like a lot of times a subconscious thing. But if we simply make the shift back into stop abandoning ourselves and in our own frame, it changes everything. And in this episode, you're going to learn the 5 ways that we abandon ourselves and how we can stop doing that right meow. Meow. Right meow. So what actually inspired this episode is I just got done doing a week-long training where I was going live for sometimes 3 hours a day, training people how to go full-time doing what they love. And I teach my buddy Victor and I do this, and we show people how to go full-time, the mindset shift that is needed, how to grow on social media, how to get coaching clients. It's mainly for coaches, psychics, and healers, or people that want to be that, learning how to do that full-time. And one of the biggest blocks people came up with and they were expressing, was caring what other people thought and being afraid to put themselves out there. Like if they were to put their energy out there or their videos out there, like what will my friends and family think? And this is an interesting thing too, even for myself. When I first started making content online, I wasn't as worried about the people that were new to me if they gave me a negative comment or they didn't like me. But it's fun on Instagram. As I started growing, I had like 10,000 followers on Instagram, then 20, then 30, then 40, and then just it kept growing. But I remember in the beginning, I wasn't worried about the 20,000 or 30,000 followers. I was worried about the 400 people that I followed that were friends from high school, people that I actually knew. What would they think of me? Friends and family. Would they think I'm weird if I'm talking about this esoteric law of attraction stuff? And I've held myself back a lot when I was making content because I was tuning and making content that fit within a certain box just to make those 200 to 400 people not think that I'm weird. I would, in a way, neglect what I really wanted to say, what I was really passionate about, for the 200 to 400 people, instead of thinking of even the 20 to 30,000 people that would actually like what is authentically me that I want to express. It's an interesting psychological thing, but I remember holding myself back. So even when people are sharing with me in this full-time purpose challenge that they're afraid of caring what other people think, it was obvious to me that I've been there. I remember when I first had a YouTube video go out back in 2016, 2017, it was on Life Purpose. You can go to my YouTube channel and separate the videos by date. You'll see it there. This is back in 2016, one of my first videos ever. I made like 2 or 3 videos, and then I waited like 6 months because things weren't working out. It wasn't moving as fast as I want. And then in February 2017, that's when I went daily. That's what changed everything, was the commitment to that dream reality. Now, when I first put that video out there, though, I remember texting my mom. My mom was like the only one I could ask to like my video on Facebook so that I could like feel good about like anyone that I had the balls to ask to like a post on Facebook. Friends, other family, wouldn't really ask them. Mom, I called my mom. Mom, can you like my photo on Facebook? Or my video on Facebook? I just posted my first video. And I was worried it wouldn't get likes. It did get likes. I think it got like, 40, 50 likes or whatever. But I was so self-conscious of it. I really cared what other people thought. And that was something that that kind of carried with me for a long time, And a lot of it, just so you know, the way to get through these blocks is through it, not around it, not avoiding it, to go through it. There was even my sisters in the beginning. I love my sisters, but they were, who are you making YouTube videos for? Your 8 subscribers? Yeah, Aaron, go make videos for your 8 YouTube subscribers. And I'd be like, ha, 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 and I would go make my freaking video. And I'm like, yeah, I guess there are only 8 people watching. But I just went through it. I was like, whatever, they're my sisters, they're giving me shit. And then, many of you know my story from 7 to 15 years old. I had my ex-stepmom in my life who was mentally, emotionally, physically abusive. When I was 15, my dad finally divorced her. When my dad divorced her, I never really had to have her in my life again. But those are my sisters. That's their real mom. It was my stepmom until 15. And then my sisters, though, that's their real mom. So what I would hear when I was making videos living at my dad's house in 2017 is they would come back from their mom's house and they would be making fun of me because their mom would be brainwashing them, or they would be like telling me about how her mom was mimicking my videos. Like, "I'm my name is Aaron and I expand consciousness." And she would make fun of the videos I was making. I would hear about this and I'd be like, damn. And this is obviously a wound because it's the ex-stepmom wound, the one person that caused me a lot of pain in my life, especially in the formative years of 7 to 15. And I'm hearing about her make fun of me while I'm making these videos. And guess what? I could have given up then. Could have been like, oh yeah, let me give up my dreams or this vision for that. But guess what? I held my vision. I thought, who gives a shit what she thinks? On the path to doing great things or to doing big things, there's going to be people that like what you do, and there's going to be people that don't like what you do. It's just a natural part of it. But it's not internalizing. Another thing, people were like, what about negative comments and stuff? When they were joining Full-Time Purpose, the course that Victor and I have. What I told them, one of the big things that kept me going was 2 or 3 weeks into making daily videos on YouTube. One of the things that came up was one person. I saw the first positive comment that I got that really meant a lot to me. And it's the exact verbatim. Somebody commented on a video and said, "This video changed my whole life." And in that moment, I felt so grateful. It all was worth it, making daily videos for 2 or 3 weeks straight, having people that maybe didn't believe in me or that were making fun of me. Even my ex-stepmom, where there's definitely a wound that was there that was like, whoa, she's saying these things. What if I fail? Something else that my ex-stepmom used to always tell my dad and my sisters? Aaron and Zach, my brother, are going to be losers because I'm not in their life. They're going to be losers. And for a long time, she was able to look at Aaron. He's working that 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes. Didn't finish college. He's a loser. Look at Zach. He's in the army, blah, blah, blah. He's a loser. That's how she would talk to my sisters. So, and my dad's just accepting, and it's very, us do what we want. My dad's a fire investigator, and it's interesting, but I just was like, focus on my vision. I went through that, and I set aside what other people were thinking about me. I knew that what was more important was how I felt about me, and I knew that there was a vision that I had. I remember even going to friends' houses, and to hang out, and they'd be like, "What you up to?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm making videos. I was that guy with the hobby for a long time," and then their eyes would kind of glaze over. They're like, "Oh, cool." And it was like, yeah, that you and your pipe dream, that was the energy that I felt. Maybe it was my own projection too. But in order for other people to believe in me, I had to first believe in me. And I had to not internalize. So when we talk about the positive comments that this video changed my whole life, that felt amazing. That made it all worth it in a way. But then I realized shortly after that, when I received my first negative comment on YouTube, not to internalize these comments, because these comments are nice reflections, but the only time what other people think about us really gets to us is when we internalize it and we think it's actually true. So somebody said to me, especially at the time, back in 2012, I would watch this guy Ralph Smart's videos because he was one of the first, probably, him and Teal Swan were the first people making videos on law of attraction type content. And he had a whole bunch of videos. I was, at the time, making daily videos. I wasn't watching other people's videos and like remaking videos. I was doing my own thing. I was just making videos. And I would like go on things I was passionate about. I learned marketing. I learned how to like get the right the right titles with the right thumbnails and stuff. I learned it as I go. I didn't learn it and then start. I just started and then I figured it out. But what happened is, as I was learning all this stuff, I started to grow. And then somebody commented on my video and said, "You copied Ralph Smart. You're like trying to be Ralph Smart." And I was like, in that moment, I'm like, what? I was like, I'm trying to be me. I just am being me. I'm not trying to be him. And I was accused by a subscriber or somebody, maybe not a subscriber, I don't know, but of that. And then I thought to myself, like, if I internalized that, it felt very negative. And I knew deep down, like, no, I'm not. I'm not watching any of his videos. I did years ago. I'm just doing my own thing. But I didn't want to look like to other people that I was like a copycat or something, So these were all things that came up. But the key is to not, even the positive comments now, I don't really internalize them. It's nice to see people that are like, "Oh, your videos changed my life" and stuff. But I know that they changed their life, not me. My videos may have reflected back something. It's an interesting thing because on one hand, I'm like, "No, you did it. You did it," which is true. They did do it. But there's also an aspect of myself that's learning to receive a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm happy for that. But not be like, "Oh, no, but you changed your life. Don't give me any credit," and not feeding my ego to give it credit. But it's like, there's also, I think, because of having a low sense of self-worth growing up, there's like a challenge I have with receiving positive comments, or just, even when I meet people in public and they're like, "Oh, it's so great. These changed my life." And I'm like, "Yeah, great." It's almost like I can't receive it sometimes and I feel resistant to it, but I'm learning to like accept it more. And that's a part of my growth as well. Just being vulnerable and transparent here with you guys. I think that's part of my growth as well, but also not internalizing it so much. And I realized the things I internalize are the ones that I think could be true. For example, I've been making videos on YouTube for how long now? Like 3 or 4 years. I've made like almost 2,000 videos. How many times can I say something brand new? It is, maybe it's my own limiting belief, but it's challenging sometimes to always come up with new content, new angles. So I end up telling repetitive stories repetitiously. So when people say, "Aaron, you already told this story, this video's repetitive, we don't need to hear about your story every time, blah, blah, blah." It's like, oh, maybe there's some truth in that. But at the same time, I know that a lot of the people that are watching my channel and finding me are finding me for the first time. So yes, I'm grateful that there's people that watch my videos, like every video, and that have heard my ex-stepmom story and my 9-to-5 job story and certain stories, my spiritual awakening story many times. But at the same time, I'm also thinking about the new people getting brought in, and the stories are what really gets them to like binge more content, to like awaken more. So it's a funny little dynamic there, but the ones that appear to be somewhat true that could be true are the ones that hurt more. But the ones that I'm like, oh, that's just their own projection, it's easier. So with this though, the one thing that when I was doing this full-time purpose, launch, the thing that really helped people and really motivated people that I could tell when the comment section went nuts, because I did this live on Zoom, was realizing that giving a shit what other people think and really looking for people's validation and approval, what that is us trying to please other people to get their validation and approval because we haven't given it to ourselves. We have abandoned ourselves in exchange for other people's validation and approval. Abandoned the self. And one of the ways we do that, and one of the reasons we do that, is because we have a low sense of self-worth, and we believe that we will only be accepted if we are a certain way. We don't want to be rejected or abandoned by other people, so we therefore abandon ourselves. People abandon themselves by not going after their dreams or their passions with what they're passionate about, because what will my family think? What will others think? We abandon ourselves for other. And the way that you push through this is you become aware of the belief, you become aware of the story, and you start to realize that other people's perception of you is their shit, not yours. That'll be kind of a theme of what we're talking about today in today's episode, but that's their shit, not mine. My ex-stepmom that was like, oh, look at me, I'm Aaron, I help people expand their consciousness, and her like mimicking me like that, that's her own shit of feeling insignificant, of feeling maybe like, that was her strategy of feeling better about herself, is she would make other people, she would gaslight people. She's a narcissist. That's her shit, not mine. Friends' eyes glossing over. Even now, like, not to be transparent with you guys, it's somewhat like a challenge that I have is it's somewhat unrelatable for me to talk to even some friends from my past who are maybe bitching about a 9-to-5 job they hate for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, dude, you're working a job you hate. Why are you still there? Do something else. Like, it's like a story people get trapped in. And it's like, why don't you just get the fuck out? Well, how do I have bills to pay? I can't get it. You tell yourself that you can't get out, that you have bills to pay. You could find something else quickly if you changed your freaking story and you started taking action. You committed to something else. I had a friend that came to my house one time and he bitched for like 30 minutes about his job and about all the corporate politics there. And I dealt with corporate politics, so I understand. But I'm like, why are you still why are you still there, dude? You've been and he's been talking about that job that he hates for like 5 years. I'm like, freaking leave. And I was then talking, like, what else could you do? What else are you passionate about? And I remember years ago, he was talking about like a clothing line that he had an idea of. Like, he liked this brand LRG, and he's like a big dude. So he wanted to like come up with some type of like clothes that fit. I forget, but he had all these, he's a creative dude. So I'm like, I'm hyping him up. I got him super excited. By the time he left my house, he was buzzing. But then he went home and it weared off. And he probably went back into that story of complaining about the 9-to-5 job, because people become addicted to their stories. And even sometimes I feel like the challenges I have now and the things that, like my buddy Victor and I talk about they're kind of different than what I talked about a long time ago. Now the stories are, having employees, structuring the business, how to spread out and like selling a house, how not to pay 40% capital gains on a house that I'm selling, or the positive capital gains, or shit like that, and some of this stuff, it just sounds cocky or arrogant to people that aren't maybe in that vibe. And it holds me back. Even on my own YouTube channel, I think hold back myself. On podcasts, I get pretty vulnerable like I am right now, but I think I hold back some of the aspects of my life. I'm not saying this to brag, but I've created a business and a lifestyle, multi-million-dollar business and lifestyle. But I don't talk about some of that and some of the challenges that come with that because it makes me feel, I guess, more unrelatable to people that listen. But at the same time, it's authentic because I'm going through it. So it's a funny, like, double side end of the spectrum, but like, I guess there's a fear there that if I share too much about my life and like a challenge now that I'm figuring out is now I have 3 houses. I have a house in Sedona, I have a house in Austin, and I have a house that I bought a house in Austin and I realized that the house is too small. I work from home and I realized the house is too small. Third world problems, I know, but I found I also don't want to be in the middle of the city. I want to be in a part of Austin that's like more naturey. So I'm moving in 2 weeks into this new house. Probably by the time this comes out, I might already be in that house. And I'm excited. It's much more square feet, has a pool, has a jacuzzi, it has like a fire pit, it has all this cool stuff. And I'm excited because also filming videos there is going to be much more expansive than the house I'm in now. And I want to Airbnb this house. The challenge I have is I got to get a permit for this Airbnb in order for me to do that. And the city's not giving any more out. And maybe there's loopholes, I don't know. And moving into this new house, I'm going to have 2 other house payments because I'm selling my house in Sedona. So that's a challenge that I have. And I may have bitten off more than I could chew. I'm good. Like, I'm not worried about this. I have the abundance. But these are, even as I share that right now, that might bring shit up inside of you. And what I want to point the attention to is if that brings shit up, it might look like I'm being cocky by sharing this. But this is shit I don't share in my channel or on YouTube because I think it makes me more unrelatable. But the reason I'm sharing that is because if it is bringing up some type of like maybe negative thoughts in you, me realizing that's your stuff, not mine, helps me to process this. And in the same way, if you're making videos, if you're going after your passion and other people are judging you, that's their shit, not yours. Just like if you're triggered by what I just said, that's your stuff, not mine. And maybe you develop perspective, I'm egotistical or something. I mean, there's a reason I don't share this stuff normally. I'm just kind of like going off the cuff here. But these are things I wonder about in my content. Like if I shared that, is that something you guys would like? Or does that sound cocky, arrogant? And once again, it's me being presumed like, what do people think about me? And also like, will people like me? Will people stick around if it's a little bit less relatable than like me talking about, back in the day, it was cool doing the full-time purpose challenge because I could see these people and I could see myself in them. And it was like a nostalgic feeling of like, I remember how empowering it is to start going full-time with what I love or like really committing to it because I've been there. And when you start doing it, it's like this new, fresh thing. Someone came on that was like a testimonial from our full-time purpose. And she's like got 10,000 followers on TikTok and she's getting coaching clients and tarot card readings is what she does. And she was talking about how excited she is and how she doesn't want to miss a day of posting content because she has all this momentum. And I'm like, I remember what that's like. But now it's like I could take a month off and it makes no big difference because of the momentum that I've created over 3 years of everything. But it's just an interesting energy. It's like, what do I share? What don't I share? But that's caring a lot what other people think. But what that brings up in other people is on them. Even when I was talking to friends, and even though I don't maybe relate to some of them anymore, it's like if I were to share certain things, I would feel like a little bit of it is unrelatable, and it would bring up stuff for both of us probably. Like, oh, is this relatable within their frame of context? You know what I mean? But also I'd hold back some of myself. So the first way to stop abandoning yourself has to do with your limiting beliefs and validation and how you've abandoned yourself already to make other people happy. Stop abandoning yourself to make others happy and start claiming, what do you want? What do you desire? What is authentic for you? And we'll talk more about this in the second one. Now, the second way to stop abandoning yourself has to do with love and your own wants and needs and your own level of emotional availability. This was a game changer for me. I was attracting people into my life that were emotionally unavailable because I was emotionally unavailable. Now, in the love attachment patterns, if you've ever heard me talk about this before in other content, you've got anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and secure attachment. Secure attachment is when your parents growing up, you were able to give and receive love equally. And in relationships, you feel confident in who you are. You feel mindful of the other person. You're not avoiding intimacy, but at the same time, you're not needy. Now, anxious is more needy. Anxious attachment and avoidant attachment are kind of the trauma ones that have work to do to become secure, which it is possible to become secure. Now, anxious means you lean in to receive love. You're waiting for someone to text you back. You want constant validation. When you were a kid, you didn't receive that nurture and that love, so therefore you wanted more of it, and you thought that you had to change in order to receive love. A lot of times people in anxious attachment, they change their own center of gravity to make other happy, which many times in masculine feminine energy, especially for the masculine, it depolarizes the relationship because the feminine wants to feel safe, but the feminine can't feel safe if the masculine is changing their center of gravity to manage the feminine's emotions in order to get their own needs met. It's kind of a selfish thing. But anxious means needy and leans in. Now, avoidant holds back and says no. They're like afraid of intimacy because at some point in their past, they lost a sense of trust in the masculine or the feminine. So avoidant and anxious are kind of the opposite of the spectrum. Avoidants push away. They want love, but they start to get intimate and they start to become afraid. Now, what I've realized is that in anxious and avoidant, they're both emotionally unavailable in their own ways. Now, the anxious thinks they're emotionally available because they want love, but what happens is they only attract emotionally unavailable people because that's what feels safe and comfortable, because most likely, growing up, they had a parent that was emotionally unavailable. And what happens from this whole situation is that then either anxious or avoidant, really, but there's an emotional unavailability that's there because it feels unknown and unsafe to have somebody that was actually emotionally available. And what I've realized in my life is the reason I was attracting emotionally unavailable people is because I was emotionally unavailable, but also what I had to start to do, and the key to this, the cure, is vulnerability. Vulnerability is sharing what you really think and feel. Not meaning that you're just this emotional little wave thing where it's like your emotions are always all over the place and you're in this like crying zone all the time, but sharing your wants and your needs. So in relationship, like one of the ways that anxious attachment normally don't do this is they're very passive aggressive. So what they'll do is they'll like somebody and they'll be friends. They'll be the nice guy. And they'll be friends with somebody who's not attracted to them because they're not being vulnerable and real. And they'll have maybe sexual intentions or maybe intentions to date them, but the other person may not even know that. That was me for a long time, where I was the nice guy. I'd be nice. And I wasn't in my actual masculine core. So I'd be nice to people. I'd be, I'm attracted to this person, but instead of like, because you have such a fear of being abandoned by others that you like don't put your real self out there. But the vulnerability is the key. When you put yourself out there, that's vulnerable because somebody could reject you. But the key to this is really just sharing what you feel when you feel it and being honest. So instead, it's like you see someone you like and you say, I am attracted to you. I'd like to take you out. Just literally saying what you fucking feel. And the vulnerability is attractive to other people. Now, if they even reject you, guess what? That's okay. You've saved yourself time and you now live in accordance to that authenticity. Really what this is for the second one with love and relationship dynamics is this will help you become more emotionally available. And this will get rid of all that passive aggressive bullshit. This is the key. Vulnerability and valuing authenticity and vulnerability over other people's validation and approval. You have to switch your value. You have to say, me as a person, I am a blunt, to the point person that expresses my needs and my feelings. Even in my relationship now, when I'm feeling something, I express it. And guess what? There's more respect there. There's more of an understanding there. It drives my girlfriend nuts if I don't say something when I'm feeling it, because then she feels that discord. She's super empathic, so she feels that discordant energy, and then she doesn't know what it is, and she thinks it might be something else. But then if I just tell her, oh, hey, a big part of, especially in the beginning of our relationship, is she's exactly what I thought I wanted, as far as I wanted someone that's nurturing, that's touching me, that's always nurturing and very physical, and that's what I always thought I wanted. And then I got it, and then I realized that my nervous system gets uncomfortable around that level of love, and I had to adapt. But what I would do is that she would be touching me, and she'd be very nurturing and very affectionate, and there's times when I would start to like get uncomfortable because my nervous system wasn't used to it, and instead of me saying, hey, this is like, I'm not used to this much love, I need to like either take a break, or just so you know, you can keep doing it, but I'm feeling this way, I wouldn't say something. Then she would feel like there's something wrong. She'd be like, oh, maybe there's something wrong between us. And then eventually it came up, and now I just tell her, but now it doesn't mean the answer is for me to like push her away or to like say, hey, I need you to, because I think that maybe my nervous system needs to get used to that level of love or that level of affection. But the other side of that is me expressing it, getting out of the pattern because when I was a kid, if I expressed how I felt, I'd get punished, or it just didn't matter. I heard the saying from my ex-stepmom a lot growing up: kids are meant to be seen and not heard. I heard that a lot. So I'm here, you're seeing me, but I'm not meant to actually tell you how I feel. That was my pattern. So I told my girlfriend, I was like, I need to get used to just expressing what I feel, because I used to get like, that meant like punishment, band camp taken away, being locked outside. That meant like, a whole bunch of pain. So in love and dynamic relationships, and this is something, by the way, if you guys haven't gone through the 21-day magnetic love challenge, I highly recommend you go through it. Many of you guys listening to this have already been through it. I've had over 3,700 people go through it, but it's 21 days in a row of an hour session a day. They were meant to be 20 minutes long. They ended up being an hour session a day with coaching and everything. I bring in relationship experts, and we day by day release more of our subconscious blocks to love and to giving and receiving love, so that we can heal our relationship attachment styles to become more secure, but also so that we can remove love blocks to attracting love. And through that challenge, it was a really powerful. It was by like day 4 or 5, people would come on, and I'd coach people. I'd bring people on and coach, and you could see that if you get the course, the 21-day challenge. But there's actually things you do as well at the end of every video. Either a PDF or something you do, or something that you do that you put in the group that you get a part of as well, that helps you wire this in. But by day like 3, 4, 5, people were coming on like, this challenge has already changed my life because of whatever we were doing. And it was so cool. I wouldn't ask like, hi, I just say, hey, how's this challenge going or whatever. And they'd be like, oh my God, it's already changed my life. It's, somebody came on, they bought a $2,000 course, and they got the Magnetic Love Challenge for $97. And what they said was that the $97 course was more valuable. They've gotten more out of it than the $2,000 course, and they bought it at the same time. So anyways, I'm not trying to hype it up too much, but if you haven't done it yet, it is a very valuable course that turned into something completely different than what I thought. It was supposed to be 21 days of like 10-minute live videos. I went live for an hour a day, and we coached people. I brought on my shadow work integration coach, and you guys go to aarondoughty.com/love to join right now. So AARONDOUGHTY.com/LOVE, and check it out. You guys can join. But that's what we do. We look at your becoming more vulnerable, more authentic, and that helps you get more into your masculine and feminine core as well. So the third way to stop abandoning yourself is to cut your ties now to your parents. Now, I don't mean like you stop talking to them or like screw them or anything, but what I mean is energetically, kids a lot of times will feel a responsibility for their parents to manage their emotions. And my shadow work coach talks to me a lot about this, but he says that there's like a wound that he notices in a lot of like famous athletes, because what they all do is they all take care of their parents, take care of their mom, buy their, they may have not had a dad in their life, but what they do is they buy their mom a house, they do all this stuff, and it makes it hard because he's coached them before, and it makes it hard for them to really connect to the feminine because they're taking care of their moms in a certain way, where then they feel like they have to take care of their girlfriends in a certain way. And our relationships with our parents very strongly impacts our relationships with our significant other. So the thing to look at here, and the thing that I had to do, is I realized at a certain point that I felt a lot of shame in my love dynamic relationships and shame for my own level of worthiness, because when I was a kid, I felt abandoned. When my brother was born when I was 3 years old, my brother was born. I never realized this till I did plant medicine ceremony, by the way. I was doing a tobacco thing for my brother where I was putting tobacco in this little thing. And in this moment, I just had this realization that a big part of my own self-abandoning issues and stuff stemmed from when I was 3 and my brother was born. I felt neglected because all the attention went to my brother. And my mom said I was a very quiet kid. And I think I was quiet because I felt kind of alone. And what happened is my brother was born and he had all these health complications. He had asthma. He was in the hospital all the time. And my mom, I think, got juice out of like taking care of my brother. And like, you know, she's always liked doing that. She has a pattern with that. She likes taking in animals that have been abused. And you know, like we had an animal that had no front legs. His name was Rue. We had Nala and Rue. They were brother and sister, and Nala had no front legs, but she would walk like almost like a pterodactyl. She'd walk on her back legs. But my mom has this pattern of just always wanting to like take these. I think she gets value from it. So she was getting value from like helping my brother. And what happened is when that attention shifted to him, I started feeling alone. I started feeling like I didn't matter. And then years later, even as I was growing up, I would feel uncomfortable if the light would go towards, if the attention would go towards me, I'd feel uncomfortable because I didn't want to make my brother feel small. I was so tuned to him, but I was like neglecting myself. It was an interesting dynamic. But what I had to do is I realized that because I felt unworthy and I felt shame, like there's something broken with me. Shame is identity-based. Guilt is action-based. I always say that, but it helps us understand the emotions more. Shame means I'm broken. Guilt means I'm a good person that did something wrong. Shame, though, is like I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. And I realized that I have this energy where growing up, I felt like there's something wrong with me, obviously. And also, like, my mom has a lot of stuff going on. If I could just fix my mom, I could have her love me the way I want to be loved and pay attention to me in the way I want to have that attention or that affection. And what happened is, even after, you know, growing up, I would attract women into my life that were emotionally unavailable because if I could fix them and get them to love me, then I'll finally be whole. So I'd always attract people I felt like I needed to fix. And that was a pattern that I had for a long time. But the biggest game changer for me is I had to realize my mom's stuff is her stuff. My dad's stuff is his stuff. It's not my job. That's not my job. There's a Mac Dre song called It's Not My Job. But I had to separate my energy and be like, that's your stuff, not mine. Because I realized it's not my fault. And I have something to tell you guys. Your parents' emotional unavailability growing up wasn't your fault. It's not your fault that happened. If you had a dad that left or a mom that left or a dad that cheated on your mom or a mom that cheated on your dad, it's not your fault. If your parents divorced, it's not your fault. It's something that happened. It's their stuff. And realizing it's not your fault is key to healing. And you can really separate, start to disconnect and like that's your stuff, not mine. And when I started to do that, that's when everything changed for me. I felt blocks in dating because I was coming out from the frame that I'm broken. Why would anyone love me or like me? All of a sudden, I realized, no, that's my mom's. I don't have to try to regulate. I don't have to find people that I feel like I need to fix. My mom's empowered. She can deal with this on her own. And as I did that, even with ex-girlfriends, I'm like, you guys got this. I don't have to fix you anymore, or try to, or believe I got value out of feel like I was fixing other people. I'm not good enough already. If I can fix someone else, then I'll feel good. But I'm also doing them a disservice because I'm implying there's something wrong with them. So that was like a huge epiphany for me. So you realize you're not broken by becoming aware of the belief, and then actually doing a meditation where you disconnect your energy cords from your parents, and you see them and know that they're whole and complete already, and they'll figure it out. But it's not your job. And as you do, you take your power back and you realize that you are actually worthy. You're separating yourself from that energy from when you were a kid. Now, the fifth way you could stop abandoning yourself has to do with friends and boundaries. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't start to develop boundaries. Now, there's two stories here that I think really highlight this well for me. But a lot of times I would abandon myself to make others happy. I remember one time, it's one of my good friends' birthdays. I had a photo shoot. I know I've told this story a couple times, so I'm repetitiously content. Please like me. I know I'm being repetitive. But I was in Sedona, living with some friends, and it's a friend of mine's birthday. and I give her shit about this all the time, but she decides to have her birthday in Telluride, Colorado, which is, in order to get there, you either fly through a layover. It's like you fly and then you drive. And then after you fly, you drive like 5 hours from Denver to get there, or you just drive there. And it's about the same either way. It's like a 9-hour commute. So you can either drive 9 hours, or you can fly and then still have to rent a car and drive. So it wasn't an easy birthday thing to do, but I canceled. I had a photo shoot with like a celebrity photographer, someone that's like shot for Justin Bieber and like all these celebrities and stuff. And I had a very expensive photo shoot that I had to reschedule. He's also a friend of mine now, the photographer, but I had to reschedule that. It was a week before I went to Costa Rica, so I was very busy. Like, all this shit was going on, and it was extremely inconvenient for me to go, but I literally felt like I had no other option. I felt like it was like, if I am a bad friend if I don't go to this party. Now, here's the thing. She invited like 25 people to this party, but only like 5 came. Why? Because it was so fucking hard to get to. And a lot of other people are also business owners that realize I can't travel for that much. It takes like a day to get there and a day to get back. They didn't have that to give up on like a couple week notice. So what ended up happening is I abandoned myself, my business. I abandoned my photo shoot. I abandoned my energy so that I could drive 9 hours there. And it was a lesson for me because driving back, it snowed. Telluride, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. It's amazing. I'd like to go back someday. But driving back through the snow, I literally had moments where I could have died. I was with a friend. We were turning the corner, and like the car would just slide. I was in a Range Rover. I bought a Range Rover before we went, so it was good timing. But so that I didn't slide off the frickin', literally no railings on some of these things, and it snowed so much that like the car would just slide around these cliffs and shit. It was so unsafe. But it made me realize, like, I did not have to go through all of this and almost, like, risk my life to drive, like, 12 hours back because we're going through snow. It was just crazy. But I learned from that. Now I know that if somebody gets mad because I can't go to I go within my own body now and I say, is this something I want to do? Is this something that resonates with me? And if not, then I don't do it. You see the difference? It's like, you can choose whether you do something or not. Before that, though, I thought I had no choice. I thought that I had to do it. And I started getting more into my power as I started getting more in my body and asking myself first, like, what do I want to do? It doesn't mean becoming a narcissist, but it means you weigh it out. How much do I have to give up myself to go do this? And maybe the answer is yes, I still want to go do this. It was actually fun to go there and hang out and stuff. But if I would have been in my power and not afraid of saying no, I would have been like, well, we'll make up for it some other time, So it's this realization of your own power. Now, another aspect of this too is, I abandoned myself because I had to gain, like, if they didn't, to go to their birthday, I'd be a bad friend. I wouldn't get their validation, their approval. It was a self-worthiness thing. Once again, this all comes back down to, that's their shit, not mine. Stop abandoning myself, and I'm already worthy. The second thing, though, is when I first started going full-time on YouTube, I had a whole group of friends, and I like 4 friends that lived in a certain house. They'd always be smoking hookah and chilling. I'd go over there every now and then. And when I would go over there, those are the friends. Some of them, they're amazing. They're still good friends of mine. However, I remember that as I started to grow my vision of being full-time on YouTube, I was making a video every single day on YouTube, and I was working at Barney's New York in women's shoes 30, 40 hours a week. I was very busy. I would have had friends that are like, hey, come to this party, come do this, let's smoke hookah, let's blah, blah, blah. And I would, back in the day, just completely say no. I would say yes. I would say, yep, you're right. Like, I would be afraid of being a bad friend. Once I started my vision of being full-time on YouTube and making daily videos, even before things grew, I had to say no. I started saying no to that because I was like, well, I want this more than I want that. I want to be full-time on YouTube more than I want to go to my friend's house, and this will get in the way of me and my video coming out tomorrow. So what did I do? I had to start saying no, and as I started saying no to things I didn't really want to do, I started saying yes to what I did want to do, which is make the videos to go full-time on YouTube. So anytime you say no to something, you're also saying yes to something else. But that is also the key to you not abandoning yourself, is like, what is your passion? Are you able to say no to friends because And they'll really understand that's a conditional love if they don't get it. If your parents don't accept you, if somebody judges you because of the videos you're putting out, it's conditional love and it's control and it's manipulation. And realizing that makes it so much easier. So saying no is like a superpower. And not abandoning yourself for others is like the name of the game when it comes to this, especially if you're an empath. If you're an empath, then you know exactly what I'm talking about with this whole energy dynamic. Now, the fifth way to stop abandoning yourself and how to switch this up has to do with understanding your own body. Now, here's what happens when we go through trauma as a kid. This is a game changer for me. I made an empath video that has like hundreds of thousands of views now, and this is the concept that I think really resonated with people. When we're kids and we go through trauma, we are in our bodies as little kids. We're jumping around, we're having fun, we're laughing, ha ha ha. We're like very free with our emotions. We're very brutally honest. We're very vulnerable, right? Kids will just say in the elevator, like, that lady is fat or something like that. Like there's no filter. They're just saying vulnerability, what they feel and think, you know? Not that that means that we're meant to be like that as adults, but it's like, there's something to learn from that level of freedom though, you know? Now kids, what happens when we were kids is we go through trauma. We then leave our bottom 3 chakras and we go into our third eye to where we're then tuning to everyone else because that becomes a survival mechanism. I must tune to other people to get my needs met. How does mom feel? How does dad feel? How does my brother feel? Am I outshining my brother? I need to like pull back a little bit. I need to put the attention back on him. How does my mom feel? Oh, she's emotionally developed. Can I fix her somehow? How's my dad feel? Like we're tuning to everybody else to make ourselves happy. Now, the key to this, I went to an energy healer. I talked about this whole experience somewhere on my YouTube channel, but went to this energy healer that was very expensive to go to, but I've heard amazing stories from him. So I went to him and he put his hands over my back and he could like tell me all these things from my childhood that I kind of forgot about. And one thing he said is that there were like 3 people in my life that in a way were times in my past that I gave away my power and my energy was being siphoned out of my body. So my bottom 3 chakras, I had no gravity in. I was just head out. So when I was making videos, the first like so many hundreds of videos, I was channeling, going through and going out my heart, but like I wasn't grounded. I wasn't in my masculine frame. And that was something this last year I've been working with. And basically his lesson and what he's helped me do is to come more inside my body, to bring my energy inside my body. And when I learned the frame technique, that's when everything changed. The frame technique is when I learned how to bring the energy inside of my heart and my bottom 3 chakras and how to actually feel the separation between me and others, me and past people in my life that I've been around, me and my parents. And as I felt that separation and felt inside my body, I started to have a stronger sense of self, a stronger sense of frame. So if you are somebody that's super empathic and tuning to everyone else, the thing you might need to hear is go inside your body. Bring the energy inside of your body. And when you do that, you will start to have more gravity. When I do this, by the way, and I go in public, not that I'm doing it to get people's validation, but like I don't need other people to say hi to me. I don't like when I will go hikes in Sedona, I'd always like feel obligated to say hi to people I pass. I don't feel that anymore. I just do me. And if I feel like saying hi, I do. And if I don't, I don't. But it's like so much more authentic now. But also I go inside my own body when I pass people instead of like projecting my energy at them to like see if they're going to say something back to me. And guess what? It's like it's more magnetic energy than ever. If you want to have magnetic energy, then bring the awareness inside of your body, inside of your feet, inside of your hands, and feel the separation between you and others. That's a mind twist because most of you and most of us do these meditations where we connect our energy fields together, you know? But the key is actually to feel the separation. And the separation is where the power is. So something that I encourage you to try is to try the frame technique. The frame technique is something that is also taught in that of the 21-day magnetic love challenge. And it is the one technique that's changed my life more than anything else. My shadow work integration coach taught it to me. There's also there's a bonus call in there and a call with Doug, my shadow work integration coach, who I pay a lot of money to deal with, but you guys can get to, see the sessions and see how he works. He brings people on, coaches them. It's very powerful. So like I said, go to aarondoughty.com/love if you haven't done the 21-day magnetic love challenge yet. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see, I might put this on my main YouTube channel. If you guys want more videos like this on the main YouTube channel, could you do me a favor and like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below and let me know. If you want more of these on the main YouTube channel, I know they're longer videos, but it's kind of, you can just listen to it and go. You know what I mean? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace, much love, and namaste.